to a session. I have already spoken to the camera. No, I've spoken to the pendulum off camera, and it is decided that the best thing to do is to. I had some questions to ask, but I was told no, don't ask those questions. What needs to be done is I need to do a Scrabble throw. My mom and my sister will be speaking with me, is what she says. I check with the pendulum off camera. So she says just do the Scrabble throw and then we'll see what we get from it. She wants to communicate through the Scrabble throw. Okay. Today is Sunday. It is close to 1 in the afternoon. I have finished my lunch. It is the 23rd of November 2025. So we'll go ahead with the Scrabble throw. So let's just confirm whether I understood properly. You want me to go ahead and do the Scrabble throw? You are in the afterlife. You are Mrs. Anita Merchant. You died as an augur from the body. You are JAYA.ADVANI, my baby sister, who I didn't spend too much time with, unfortunately. You're also in the afterlife, sweetheart. Alright, you want me to go ahead and do the Scrabble? I shouldn't do the investigation. You will talk through the Scrabble. So we go ahead and do that. Okay? Just a minute. Acha, just tell me one thing. Am I wearing my puffer jacket as of now? Am I wearing a black t-shirt, sweetheart? Am I wearing a polo t-shirt today? Am I wearing a round neck t-shirt today with the word polo written on it? Okay. Is it a blue color t-shirt? Am I wearing a bra? Am I wearing a ganji? What mama used to make me wear as a kid. So something similar to that. Am I wearing a ganji or a vest? At least it resembles a ganji. But whatever, singlet, winglet, God knows what it is. But it's like a ganji. Like a vest on the inside. Okay. So this is what I'm wearing. This is the ganji. This is the shirt. Okay, so we get on with the session. So I will do the Scrabble box mix up and let's just see what they want to say out of the box. Okay, everything is open. There's no real question and there is nothing on the mind. This is what we've picked up. This is the extra. KG is Kabir Gupta. EU is Europe. FM is the FM. E A. AI. The finance minister's EA is today shape-shifting for Kabir Gupta in Europe with the help of AI, or that who was shape-shifting for the EA of the FM has also shape-shifted for Kabir Gupta, because the topic is about SL. One person identified is who? One person identified is for Kabir Gupta, who's dead. He's my first cousin. Koshi Gupta, his mother, who was murdered in 1993. Kabir Gupta, her older son, who's also dead. He was equated to Dhruva, not a shapeshifter, that's a con artist. Any shapeshifter, no matter who you are, when you grab identity of a dead person, one, you become an accomplice to murder. Second, you are a con artist. So not con artists. No con artists. The original Mr. Kabir Gupta, who's a dead, murdered man in all probability, he had one shapeshifter, that is Sandra D'Souza's cousin brother, whose father murdered, according to the pendulum, Sandra D'Souza's own father at Hill Road, throwing Sandra D'Souza and her brother onto the streets and grabbing their property on Hill Road. That's how Sandra D'Souza, when she was about 15, 16, 17 years old, joined the real murdered Suchitra JAYA.ADVANI, a newly married woman and a new mother, in 1974, 75, 76 sometime. They were in Bombay at that time. The couple left Bombay, moved to Bangalore, lived in 2 bungalows with Nikhil Advani on rent. Vasant Mahal is one place and Jai Mahal is another place. Sandra moved with them wherever they went. Sandra also stayed with them in Cunningham Road, Hoysala Apartments, Hoysala, where their neighbor was Sally and Sabrina, who again, Sabrina worked in a hotel or as an air hostess. You were their neighbor. Right or wrong? So, they know of Sandra D'Souza. They know who Sandra D'Souza is. Sandra D'Souza is no more. History of Sandra D'Souza I have given you. It is Sandra D'Souza's cousin, whose family still stays at that Hill Road place, who has played the role of dead Kabir Gupta. The other guy who has also shapeshifted for the identity of Kabir Gupta, as mentioned over here, either he has played the role as an EA to some FM in the Indian Parliament and played Kabir Gupta's role, done something with artificial intelligence connected to Europe. Now, if you think about the Brexit, don't know how communication happens, but this artificial intelligence helps you steal, it helps you wear the face of somebody else's identity, because that's what we got. Somebody was wearing the ET of the ED. So if somebody gets a call from someone and says, I'm from the ED, I'm giving you this thing to do, whoever is getting the instructions thinking it is their boss from the ED department, but actually it is something that is the ET of the ED. The face behind the person who's giving the instructions, had you seen his real face or her real face, you will say, I'm putting you into jail. Why you are talking like this? It's not your job to talk like this. Right? So if you have at some point in time gone and fooled the ED, then you have done so from a place of authority. Does the ED have to listen to the Home Ministry and to the Finance Minister? If some minister calls you, will you have to listen? If the secretary of the minister calls you, will you have to listen? So they have been fooling lots of people. This must be history. 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, up to today also maybe, if you have not wisened up. That is if you are alive. That's another angle to it. Kabir Gupta's PAN card was misused in Europe along with mine. This is earlier. That is because the beast was shape-shifting for Kabir Gupta's mother, coming and going from that identity. The beast is born in 1958, according to my read. Kabir Gupta's mom is born in 1947, 1946, 1948 max. Max 1949. But mostly between 1945 and 1949 in India, Bombay itself. After they have moved to Bombay, pre-partition 4 years. So the 3 older siblings were born from, my dad is 37, he is the second born. 1.5 years before that is JAYA.ADVANI. So he would be born in I don't know, my maths is a little bad. But after him in 1939, my other aunt, Kailash Advani, was born. So my dad in 37, Kailash auntie in 39. 2 years before my dad in 37, maybe in 36, 35, Tarachand Advani would have been born. That is all pre-partition in Sindh. Then when my dad is about 7 years old, he says he moved to Bombay with his siblings. Then 2 more babies were born. Initially they lived in the rented apartment, which was a smaller apartment on a higher floor in the same Jaswal building. But when the babies were born, space was small. They exchanged it with somebody on the first floor who wanted a smaller apartment, lesser rent to be paid, and it was a fair exchange between both of them. Both were on old rent. Kabir Gupta's real mother apparently was pulled off the grid in 1988, murdered in 1993. Kabir Gupta's brother called Akhil Gupta had a ruler broken on him for his studies apparently sometime in the 80s. So he is complaining about it, about how his mother had got so angry with him, broke the ruler on him, on his legs. The point is, I've got Akhil Gupta as well as Kabir Gupta over here, but both are no more in the body. Earlier my reading says that my PAN card and Kabir's PAN card were misused by somebody in Europe. Only a pen. I've never been to Europe in my entire life. So I'm trying to put it together. I'm saying if it is true that the beast goes, because the beast is forever shape-shifting in and out of different people's identities, the only thing to give away about the beast is the 5 feet 5 inch height. So my suggestion this morning was, get a person who is stick thin, 5 feet 5 inches, and keep making that person wear body suits. With little more weight to the size of someone with considerable weight. Simultaneously, make them wear shoes, from chappals to let's say 4-inch wedges maybe, and see what can happen in transformation to a skinny, sticky, absolutely thin like a stick being who is under normal circumstances 5 feet 5 inches, but like a bag of bones, skeletal thin, and see what you can make such a person. And may not be skeletal thin, but thin enough so that when they have to step into the identity of a very thin person, they can get away with it wearing the skin of some VIP, dead VIP around the world, or take an underground VIP underground and then take it to height increase, size increase also. See what you can get out of it. Okay. The FM position, you can understand it is a important position where people will not suspect foul play. For that, the FM himself has to be aware of what's happening in the country, because he can have shapeshifters going over there. Now, if the beast was shapeshifting in Kaushik Gupta's place post 1988, not always in that position stationary, coming and going from that position and rotating in other homes of that height, then of course Akhil Gupta, Kabir Gupta, there is a very close watch on their movements. Also, Akhil Gupta apparently was removed in 1995 from his human body. Aki came in instead. Aki being something completely different. The manipulator is the beast. And the beast is not Vladimir Putin, because Vladimir Putin's height is 5'3". The beast minimum height, skinny thin body, can look smaller, primarily because the beast is skinny thin. That is why you are being requested to take an actual height measuring grid. Take somebody who is a bag of skeletons, but is, or like skeletal photo. And you should get a live person, not a photo. Get a live person, not a skeleton, not a skeletal. Get a very thin person and put them under the height measuring thing, and then make them just normal. See if you feel they are 5'5", till you don't put them under the height. Then fatten them up and see what they become, what height they go to. The beak is used for what? What does a bird do when he's taking flight from one place to another? He eats with his beak. He nibbles on food with his beak. He also uses his beak to give a call to people or to talk to other birds. The beak also makes his nest. What does that bird use his beak for? The beak primarily is on the crow. The beak is on the duck. I don't know, you find out who is the beak. So if the beak is used to nibble food, eat other people's stuff maybe, build a nest, a base, communicate, so it is connected with the real Akhil Gupta and the real Kabir Gupta. I don't think Akhil Kabir Gupta had anything to do with Europe ever, the originals. None of us actually been to Europe for whatever reason, other than going on the Chidambaram ship to Singapore and Penang. We didn't go anywhere else. Except come to Bangalore, or then initially come to Bombay, or then from Bangalore, Ooty and Cody Max. If we move this way, FMB AK and KG, Akil Gupta and Kabir Gupta, connected with the European AI. I'm guessing in all probability well, if we take Aki's name in this, so using the dead Akil Gupta's ego, who was playing Akil Gupta but now known as Aki, also wore the ego of some FM. Whether it's an Indian FM or it's a European FM, don't know. But if anyone knows anything about this issue, Akil Gupta, unfortunately my actual cousin, his mom is an Advani, I'm an Advani. My dad is the Advani, his mother is the Advani. His mother, the real Akil Gupta, who's supposed to have been murdered in 1995. His mother 1993 but pulled off the grid in 1988. From 190 Sankey Road, Sadashiv Nagar, here in Bangalore. This Akil Gupta actually is not capable of doing any role for FM and all. His interest is completely different as a kid. Aki is somebody who has stood in. Aki and his mother get more close and she says actually he's a very loving boy. But that is in the 90s. But Akil has been removed. You know, when there is the incident, there are some incidences that have happened. Even I don't remember if it was before I went away to Australia or after I returned. All I feel is foul play happened with the real Kabir Gupta and the Akil Gupta. And the beast has shapeshifted according to the pendulum into his mother's shoes. Seema Ravanan is his cousin from the Gupta side of family. Gupta is his father. Recently, she is supposed to have been removed out of her body. She is the wife of the CFO of what was Mindtree, which again has to do with the mind, and it is a tree neural network. So they had to forcefully sell the company 10 years earlier. Now she was around because I've last met her in 2019, I think, at just an evening do at Fern's residency, where Kabir Gupta was there, not there, we don't know. But there are plenty of shapeshifters for Kabir Gupta's identity. That I felt even at that time. I was wondering about the style in some cases. So when Seema Gupta had visit, and Seema Rostov is her husband's name. When she had visited, she had the smell of coconut oil to a very heavy extent on her. So I was wondering if it had been sprayed on me and I was getting the smell on me, because that's also possible, or it was on her. The guy shape-shifting over there, Kabir, was very rude with that version of Shamlu, but I could hear only some part of it. Did I hear the whole thing? Because I was sitting considerably far away. Yet in my ear, their interaction, I could hear, sitting far away. The entire hall is as big as my entire apartment. Who was that man? Who was playing Koshi Gupta was who? Most people over there were fake IDs. That's 2019 Diwali. Anyway, she was alive according to my pendulum up to about a month ago. They're saying 17th of November 2025. She was removed out of her body, and the beast last night was shape-shifting for Seema Ravanan or Seema Gupta. Ravanan after marriage. Oh, we have like UK also and EU also. A is their cousin Abhay Aggarwal and Uday Aggarwal. Now the thing about Uday Aggarwal and Abhay Aggarwal, who are Kabir Gupta's father's family's in-laws. So Abhay Aggarwal and Uday Aggarwal went to Buckingham University along with Vinod Mirchandani. They all went to do the MBA. At the time when I went to Australia, these guys went to the UK. Vinod Mirchandani is my father's very close friend's son from before I was even born. Vinod was born 2 years after me. Abhay Aggarwal, Uday Aggarwal, Vishal, Seema are first cousins. The way Kabir Gupta, Akhil Gupta, myself and the real JAYA.ADVANI, who's dead, are first cousins from my dad's side. We're the Advani family. The Gupta family is Kabir Gupta from his father's side, Akhil Gupta, Vishal Gupta, Seema Gupta, and then from their mother's side, Abhay Aggarwal and Uday Aggarwal. Since we went to the same college called HR College, we know each other and we're in the same batch. Ankur Patodia is Uday Aggarwal and Abhay Aggarwal's friend from Cathedral. All these guys have gone to Cathedral. That's also a place Cyrus Mistry apparently went to school 5 years before us, or graduated 5 years ahead of us. This batch was divided into HR College where I went, and then some people who went to Sydenham College. So it's the same lot of people that interact with each other somewhere or the other. Keeping Cyrus Mistry out, I don't know him, I didn't go to his school, I didn't go to his college either. All I'm saying is there is a interlinking that is weaving itself through, because the Ankur Patodia case is very important. So is Uday Aggarwal and Abhay Aggarwal, simply because Uday Aggarwal and Abhay Aggarwal went to Buckingham University with Sunair Thanawala, his sister Marushka. She was not allowed to go with them. She dropped out last minute. She knew that version of Shalina Hundalani, who's not JAYA.ADVANI. Because now we are talking about 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, where I'm getting to know things because of that who is playing at that time, playing a role of being my sister, but she is not. Uday Aggarwal, Abhay Aggarwal and that clique, along with Ankur Patodia, and if it is Ankur Patodia's home that we see the boy axing the bedroom, and in that, whether Mr. Rajnath Singh was at that location at that time with another man or not, we don't know. But there is some connection to it or not, also we don't know. But that is what was shown to us. Now, Ankur Patodia's identity was infiltrated. Behavioral patterns also very different. He's the guy who gets triggered, who wants to leave you at Khandala at 1 and 2 in the morning and says, I want you to feel pain, I want you to feel what it is to cry, I want you to feel fear. He gets triggered a dinner where Uday Aggarwal and Abhay Aggarwal were there with their respective girlfriends. I was there with Ankur Patodia. It is a dinner and then it's a movie. The movie gets over, and so everyone goes for a drive. Before going home, everyone splits and says, okay, so one couple says, let's go for a drive and then I'll drop you home. So we go, but then that becomes, I don't know what triggers the guy. He's got a new Mercedes, he wants to test drive it. He's just got a new Mercedes, the latest model. So he's starting to drive and he says, I want, let's go for a drive. I say, okay, all right. Suddenly, I don't know what happens to him, he gets triggered. And he says, I'm leaving you in Khandala. You want? I say, no, you need to turn around. He refuses to listen. He speeds up even more. I don't know how to open the door. And he says, you jump out of the car if you want. I look around to say, can I call for help? Anyone who can help me? There's nobody on the streets. I'm seeing we are coming close to a place where I recognize from here on there's some bridge over the water which takes you to the other side, from which you start climbing the ghats. So I'm also a little panicky, but not so panicky, but I'm wondering what to do. If this guy got triggered at that time in 97, then he gets triggered very quickly. He's not an original apparently. He is part of this clique where the same school boy or the same school, fast forward to now more recently, Cyrus Mistry is allowed to become the chairman, is appointed by his uncle to be the chairman after 5 years, after he's been aired to the public. There is something that under normal circumstances no one likes to go public if you have managed to keep it quiet and grow in a dignified manner. I don't know about the Parsis, but the Sindhis are a little public shy. They don't like being out there. Right? Was he defamed in that removal from the chairman's seat or whatever he was? I think so. Was there grey all over? I think so. Is that the normal way? I don't think so. So I smell a big rat. As simple as that. I smelt a big rat at that time only. But, we're still grappling, trying to figure out what's going wrong. Okay? Yeah, because if theirs is a Parsi dwindling community, then whatever little diamond that has just popped out, you're going to take very great care in grooming him. It's a small community, and you know what's at stake. You'll be very careful grooming whoever you think is next in line. What you yourself groom, you can't turn against, unless you're an outsider. Now the problem with this is they have gone to EU, AU and UK. Okay, so what is interesting over here? I just told you I went to Australia, Queensland University of Technology to study. At that time, my passport was stolen, identity was moved and shifted 1997 onwards. Twice they stole my passport. Did the Jaya, Varsha Jaya brought in a third party? Varsha was sidelined out of her own home. The real JAYA.ADVANI, my sister, who you made Anita, also called her a maid servant, gave her that reputation. Then she was held up in Panvel for 9 years, murdered in February 2018. Parallelly, you had Mrs. Shalina Hundalani, who had 10 shapeshifters for her. out of which 3 are dead and 7 are still alive in the world. You cut off the genes of my grandfather from the Advani side of it and made me look like my mother. But when I was born, I was a splitting image of my dad, and I am known to have gone on the Advani family. For you to want to cut my genes, what is it that you have done so much that you have to take me away from my own home and my own God-given birth? What covering up you need to do to that extent? The Jaya Varsha Varsha Jaya that you brought in. Actually, if we look at me, I'm a brown-skinned baby or brown-skinned teenager or a brown-skinned young lady. That version of Varsha with a crooked mouth, which I will show the photo, looks exact me in later years or in earlier years. I'll put out the photo and show you how we're similar, but how we're actually different people. You have removed my actual sister, then you brought in someone who looks similar to me. For the recording of telephony and the IP, you have done Jaya Varsha, Varsha Jaya, either as Ritu Malia or Koshi Gupta. One woman shape-shifting for both. Or then Jaya, oh, I didn't realize that is Varsha, that's not Jaya. I don't know, I get very confused. You know, in the house I'm calling Akil Kabir, Kabir Akil. I don't know who is who, I'm very confused. Actually, those are all the clones. Prepared by you. तुमने हमको खरीदा है, कहाँ पे खरीदा है और कैसे खरीदा है? ये बकवास बात तू इंडिया के अंदर कैसे कर सकता है? Apparently our military is snoring, so is raw. The police knows what you've been up to, but they are hand in glove with you. तो when you are sowing seeds, फिर तुमने पार्लियामेंट के अंदर भी बोला है that you will make India worse than Syria and Afghanistan. If India's women like the lifestyle of the Afghanistani freedom and Syria's freedom for your great-granddaughters and grandsons, then very good, excellent. These guys are going to make the world depleted. Whatever they touch, they have no good karma to name. When they grab other people's good karma, it makes it worse bad karma for them only. The good people with good karma are not going to return to earth till these people don't wash themselves out. They dared to call good people self-destructive while they were cheaply on telephony and IP address, stealing, recording all false evidence through telephony as well as the IP address and the towers. Why should anybody incarnate on earth to support that rubbish? Why should anybody? The Brahmand is so huge. Why anyone wants to come to a place which is going to be so depleted just by the energy of that trash? Today on earth, you have a place like Afghanistan and war-torn Middle East. At the same time, you have Switzerland. To go to Switzerland from Afghanistan, what all don't you have to do? Do you easily go? Are there barriers? So if on earth there are barriers, there are bigger barriers when it is the Brahmand or the universe versus one dot in the universe called earth. A poor man in India who has hardly any money, he is living hand to mouth, which means it's very simple conditions. Perhaps his locality is really bad, especially when it comes to the slums of Bombay. Or slums, let's say a cluster of tin sheds, or then, let's say very, very temporary housing. But when he has saved some money and he's leaving that cluster and he's going to take his children and his family for a little outing to a public garden. Maybe it's got a pond, it's got some swing slides, it's got lots of greenery. The entry is relatively low. It could be a free garden also. Does he get a change in the energy? Is it a breather for him? Is his whole family very excited at the outing? I would believe so. So that is the energy. The garden is, let's just say, lit realm beings that give you a breather here on earth. Where the poor man is constantly living, which is not good energy, either by lifestyle, either by the hutment or the slum or the people that are surrounding that place. It can be little depressing, it's not nice if you don't get out of it, right? There is a difference in the energy in both places. So same with earth, when you have people from the higher realms who live on earth and you have people from the lower realms who live on earth, the energies of both places balance things on earth, making it more livable for everybody. Now what you have done is, you have gone and harmed for temporary benefits those who were with good birth from the higher realms, who had done good karma. Their birth also was, for a large part of them, a good one because of good karmic currency, and they came down on earth from the higher realms, making it more palatable for those who come from the lower realms to get a breather. What you did with the people from the higher realms is ensuring they're not returning in the future till this place doesn't clear out. The seeds sown by you by way of law of karma, and whatever it is you have wanted to establish by hook or by crook, even Shirdi Sai Baba says to you, do not keep insisting and you will get success. So whether it is a failed Hitler movement, whether it is a failed Stalin movement, that was the mindset of the beast when born. It is a mindset applied to whom? In the case of Hitler, it's a superior complex. In the case of Stalin, it is backstabbing those who help you. It is only a methodology. But the beast neither cares for high or low, nor does the beast care for backstabbing. He uses these things to empower himself. When the beast did the Kasab's attack in Bombay, he primarily gave you his final hoot. It does not matter whether you are Hindu, it doesn't matter if you are Christian, doesn't matter if you are a Muslim, doesn't matter if you are a Sikh, does not matter if you are Israeli, Jewish, does not matter if you are a professional, does not matter if you spend 3 nights on the platform waiting for the connecting train with the coolies miling around you, hundreds of thousands of people in those 3 days traversing on the platform that you are sleeping waiting for the next train, lights blaring in CST called Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, where you have, it is a main connector taking you to the local trains in Bombay, taking you to trains to the suburbs, taking you to further into the interiors of Maharashtra, taking you on trains that takes you to the rest of India. Everybody goes from CST. You have the guy who's sitting in Rajdhani, first class, which costs much more than the normal traveller in the second class, which is again still spending a lot more than the guy who's spending for the local travel. It's a melange of people of all communities having to pass and stay at the connecting point. Cafe Leopold, I don't know why he has a problem. The real Nikhil Advani looked up to somebody who has suggested to him when he was in school, college. Cafe Leopold. It was a talk even in my school, but in my school, as a girls' school, we are told no going to no restaurant, they give you drugs and all. They take you, catch you and take you in the kitchen and chop you up and serve you. So never go to these restaurants. Okay, that's what my mom always tells me. and we're not allowed. The other place, which is Taj Mahal, which is Irani, but then Mr. Tata is also a Parsi gentleman. And that place is not serving CST people. Maybe some people who have eaten at Taj have also travelled in the train, but the 99% of the crowd is not the Taj, Apollo Bandar, 5-star hotel, coming and going kind. At the most, they'll go to Apollo Bandar outside, have a boat ride and come out, or then hang around and see the sea and come back. Point that is being established is the beast uses the methodology of some people with failed agendas, because it is not about their failed agenda, it is about the leftovers that still believe in that ideology but are not paid much attention to by those in governance, simply because it is a established failed effort. So who gives them any thought of the day? Not many people. They want to express something, they said it's not working, so they try somewhere else. They're a vulnerable group who has to establish some viewpoint, but there's not many takers for it. The beast is looking for an opportunity. He says, okay, these people are ignored, they have a need, let's project that need can be met. But the beast's agenda is the Kasab issue, the bomb blast of Bombay, 26/27/11. The 26th of November 2008 or the 27th of November 2008, the police had a problem with communication. There was great fire, lots of things were destroyed, some people died, many people of different communities, different socio-economic structures were affected. So the beast is beyond anybody's agenda. He's nobody's, like the Dawn song. पहचानो हम कौन हैं, हम क्या मैं है डॉन, that song. मैं हूँ डॉन, मैं किसी का नहीं है. Go hear that song. The beast is above it all. The beast will use everything because there is Stalin's ego involved, where whoever does the work for him, he actually kills after the work is taken. Hitler's superiority complex, I think, is limited up to perhaps taking people underground, jailing them like a concentration camp in a little different way. No food, no water, high level of harassment, beatings. Don't know. I don't want to get into the sickness of it. It's a very toxic, sick addition to, let's say, Hitler's style of doing things. Hitler was from Europe, Germany. So those are my thoughts on it. These guys, Uday, Aggarwal, Abhay Aggarwal, Sunair Thanawala is one boy who was supposed to go. I don't know if he dropped out and came back. Vinod Mirchandani. Ask Vinod, you going to do, you did MBA, but what you did MBA? I went to Australia, QUT, and I did my MBA in which place? Queensland University of Technology. Queensland University of Technology, Brisbane, Australia is where I did my MBA. हमारा नाम तुमने जे कर्सिव लिखा के कोई बेवकूफ़ी सोचे वो आए है. My name is JAYA.ADVANI. I did my MBA in QUT. At the same time, when I did my MBA at QUT, Brisbane, Australia, Uday Aggarwal, Abhay Aggarwal, and Vinod Mirchandani went to the United Kingdom to Buckingham University. So when we regroup, I ask, na, Vinod, you did your MBA in what? I did in international business. What you did? So he says he did in service. Bolu, acha, okay, whatever it is, whatever it is. So this is going back probably to that time. Now, who was the FM and who was the GM at that time? I don't know. Maggie. हमको कुछ बोलना नहीं है, but yeah, I'm thinking that only. If you can understand international politics, you make sense of it primarily from that time only. What were they doing? They were playing AIs of dead people and fooling the crowds. So what did I tell you before? I told you India is a late entry into all these things. The East started abroad way before. The East caught up with India later on. The man who is very hungry to become a trillionaire, do your homework properly. The Epstein case, according to me, is people who were the framework for the artificial intelligence and technology efforts. They were all murdered, called to parties, carrot dangled in front of them, and with one stone getting rid of anything that stands in the way. Different needs, different excuses. What you will be doing is working on an already established platform, the work of somebody else. Promised great goods which will never be delivered to you because you will do all the hard work. When you think you have become very rich, they will kill you the way they have done many other people. That is why you are being warned off camera, because that's what passed through me, that I should say it openly. Mindtree is another example. Had these countries with these companies with the ability to show you that they have the ability to do the work, if just left alone, I don't think they would have gone and merged or amalgamated with USL or then Mindtree bought by somebody else, Jabong bought off by Myntra, a global company. None of them would have to be gobbled up. In most cases, the founders think they're getting paid off, but that payoff is nothing, just to show it to the world. After that, the founder is quite vulnerable actually. Or then the workers or the CEOs, CFOs are quite vulnerable. Today, when the CIA and the FBI is so vulnerable, then you are very small in comparison. What they need to take from you vis-a-vis you, even if you have an entire family, they don't care. You are their asset, you are working for them, that is in their mind. They put you to work, you do the work, you finish the job, time to get rid of you and everything that is connected with you. They want their ROI, the return on investment, and whatever they allowed you to grow. And that's how it has unfortunately been, without anyone knowing about it, for now, I think at least 2 centuries. Give and take a few. At least the 20th century has happened that way only. EEE is got to do with the artificial intelligence. You're no match for them, I am telling you in very clear terms. Also, I am asking the Indians at least who have some spiritual background. What this guy will end up doing, thinking he's going to become a fucking trillionaire, he will enslave the Yuva digitally, not realizing what he's doing. Also, there are many people of African descendant, African DNA who are in this country pretending to be Indian. You have to be very careful. Many infiltrators from war-torn Middle East. CRISPR and in this country, they are all those that infiltrated up to when the Aadhaar card became mandatory in 2016. The findings of this probably was 2003, which were shot down repeatedly in the Indian Parliament. The first lot of Aadhaar cards that went out weren't of the who's who, it was that who was a who's nobody. 100% between 2009 and 2016. The infiltrators are the first ones who ran to get an identity in this country, to become a recognized entity in this country. The ones who already knew who they were, had their PAN cards, have been around from infancy or then 2-3 generations, are the last ones to get their Aadhaar card done only upon the insistence of the government saying, if you don't have now an Aadhaar card, you will have financial problems and your money will be a problem. Divide it into who will first run to get the Aadhaar card and what is the other category that will go to get the Aadhaar card later. तो माफिया तुमको पहले भी बोला है, इसने the plenty of so the who's who have been murdered, the underworld plugged its people into different categories using agendas of people otherwise who are not heard. That is before they get to the IG's position. How do they do recruiting? They've been doing the recruiting in the 80s, 70s, 60s. So those who are ignored are the ones these guys pretend to help. But they are ignored and so nobody pays attention to them. They are easily replaceable, which is what happens. So now you have said all the research, all the AI, all the cloning, all the bloody bio war has moved to the leftists. That's bullshit. What happened is those who you consider minorities, highly ignored, their ideology not really thought of as appropriate, because the world is actually growing in an ideology which is proving itself to be highly productive everywhere. You're not going to go with the rotten apple that's looking like a sinking ship and say, oh, I'm making a good economy. No, you see a viable financial model, economic model, it's working wherever it's going. You're going to go with that, and you have so many plans you need to fulfill when you're in government, and the ancillary institutions working with it, and then it becomes hand holding in various nations, and that's why you have the center points where they have their meets. You're going to concentrate on all of that. You're going to say, well, I need to be productive. I cannot spend my time on a failed ideology. It has been tried in Germany, it's been tried in Russia, it has been found not working, so it is an ideology that doesn't work. But that leftovers of that ideology still want it to work. They feel no, they want to be heard, they want it to work. So they are also looking for some support somewhere. They get it from this group. This group uses them up to a point but also replaces them, and you don't come to know about it. Why? Because it is a matter of shape-shifting and cloning. If the king has enough money but he is not answerable as much as government around the world, then the ones who have a network with leaning towards criminal activity, they have far more money. They also have affiliation, they also have consortiums, they also have the skill, they also have the sleight of hand. One little slip into somebody's resources through maybe hiring someone from the bottom of the pyramid who's willing to do the job, not knowing who they're dealing with, can lead to much more bigger resources, like the research for cloning. When the artificial intelligence people have contributed, I believe Epstein's case is primarily to get rid of evidence. And because they are a greedy lot, if there are some girls they can also trade on, they'll do it. Side by side, they want to steal the genomes. After all, the techies are not exactly dumb. The ones who've done the network for, or the architecture, back-end architecture of everything, but they're also the evidence. If you take their egos, you take their DNA, you take their traits inherent by birth, their brains, then you slaughter them and get rid of them once you have got what you want. Who's the evidence to tell you what exactly happened? Nobody. Also, my earlier reading talked about something that is GPS related. Whoever contributed to the building of GPS got removed, and then GPS was used by the ones who got rid of those who created it to use it for their own misdemeanor activities. So that has been done everywhere. Going to the question of cloning, genome stealing, gene replication, genome replication, stealing of embryos, creating multiple babies at the time of birth to one identity. My mom used to tell me, be careful of blue bottles. Blue bottles, they are very dangerous. On the seashore of Juhu, or then when we go to Marine Drive in the rainy seasons, her biggest thing is blue bottles. What is blue bottle? They sting your feet, so yes, you really in the rainy season have to be, generally it's supposed to be jellyfish, but she calls it blue bottles. Maybe they were taking blue-blooded people as early as the 70s, 60s, 70s, 60s, 50s, putting them into those large containers, cans, big bottles in water to access the memory, to access the embryo, to access the genes, to manipulate it, to create children of that blue genes and put it out into the world, harass them to no end, because you know what you forcefully stole and created. You dare to call yourself the Illuminati? You're speaking from where? Would you like to talk to me face to face? Today, is there any Illuminati actually worth its salt, since there is so much of this involved? The word illuminated primarily means a person of light. There is no place for even half a lie. Tapaloka is a loka of the sages, where they are meditative, not manipulative. Narpatal are those lokas where what is called demonic people, the souls, Rakshasic souls, go and live. There is no light over there. There everybody is watching their back and feeling fear. There's plenty of wailing and crying over there, because it is amongst the 15 realms, it is one of the lower realms. It's not a comfortable place. And no, you cannot freely go from one space, for a little round. If you're staying in a place which is not very nice and you want a breather, you want to take your family for an outing, you can even visit a public park to get a breather. If that public park like Amarsan's Park has an ocean in front of it, or Priyadarshini Park in Bombay, you can get a breather. You have the ocean in front of you, there are nice landscapes, there's so much happening, right? You get a breather. But when you're on the 15 realms in the soul level, you cannot leave one realm and go to another. For that, you have to get the permission, not of the Trinity, but of the Guru. And in only very special circumstances can you move with protection and connect to any other realm other than the realm where you have been sent to at a soul level. That's the reality of the afterlife. So I told you we had got before also from the Nordic region. So this must be the third version of Kabir Gupta. One is D'Souza. One is this version. Aki could be for Akhil Gupta. Nick Nixie Nickel for dead Mr. Nikhil Advani, my cousin. NIKHILADVANI. Dead, dead, dead. Murdered at my home at 4 Jasville, first floor, 9 New Marine Lines, Bombay 20. He says evening time, strangulated, not with a knife, not with a gun. Ask him how did the body get removed? Was I at home? He is also not sure. He says maybe, not sure. How was the body removed? From the window which goes into the chute, which is a very, very dark, humid place, because it's like a choltri. It's quite a shitty place. But it connects to the restaurant down, which has big, big bags of potatoes, big, big bags of onions. Genuinely, there people sit in the back chopping onions for 3 hours in the morning, because that's a heavily trafficked place. It's a it's not very expensive, the restaurant, and many people who are office goers and want a quick bite do order food and go and sit in the place and eat. So he says he was removed Once strangulated, body passed on from the window. And I say yes, because when in 2010, 11 and 13, 14, when I returned, not 10, 11, when I returned from New Zealand, I was wondering, everything is locked, there are grills, but I feel someone is infiltrating into the house. Where is the entry point? Something is weird over here. I said the only places is this, what is it called? You know what the builder over here has given us? They have broken it in my bathroom. Remember in the time when I have complained on the 18th floor, it's called what? Louvers. The louver. Right? The louver. So in that louver, he has broken it on the 18th floor, but on the first floor of Forge as well, I don't know what they had, whether they were unscrewing it or what they were doing it and screwing it back. But they have gotten rid of the body from that place. I'm on the first floor. I may not, in all probability, I wouldn't have been at home. He says it was the evening time, peak traffic, when the body has been removed, taken in a gunny sack from the restaurant in a cab, and it has moved out of the city in peak traffic from South Bombay to where I have no idea. But the guy was already dead. And that guy is nobody, CRISPR'd as my father, Mr. JAYA.ADVANI, but it's my cousin, Mr. Advani. This is an incident that happened in 2009, is what he told me on the pendulum. His wife, called Mala Bhavnani, was taken, CRISPR'd into the slums. From there, she has been brought to a slum close to Deep Towers, where Shalina Hundalani was living. For 2.5 months, towards the end of her life, she was brought to work in Shalina Hundalani's home as a maidservant. When the shapeshifter for Kabir Gupta, shapeshifter for Shamlu Sharma, Shalina Hundalani, who is by default a shapeshifter, at Deep Towers, they were together or they were all in the city when they have murdered Mala Bhavnani, CRISPR'd to look different, working for 2.5 months at Deep Towers is what the pendulum said. That was 2008. What is all this nonsense? How you can call yourself Illuminati? If you have been cloning people, you are of this energy. Then what is so illuminated about you? Whether you want to be the horseman, whether you want to be the Freemason, whether you want to project yourself as Illuminati, there's nothing illuminated about you. In your business, killing people is your dharma. Grabbing assets is your dharma. Fooling people, lying to people is your dharma. So the Yuva issue that you have done, which is actual digital slavery with no lies. Finders, keepers, losers, fools. So then the biggest fools are what? The mafia's dharma is to lie and fool people and grab as much as they can. The ones who believe them, well, that's too bad. They were foolish to believe it. They should have used their own brains. So you will not feel anything. So far, this is the modus operandi you have been working with. In school, I'm told what? Everything is fair in love and war. Julius Caesar. Finders, keepers, losers, fools. So how the Yuva is trusting you? We were toy soldiers. If you go step by step to see what happened to my generation, or a little before me, or a little mostly ends at I think 83, 84. Then your Yuva XYZ generation is in for far worse, toughest times ever to meet them, and anything after that, because on the back of it is brain control. You can't control your own brain, you can't control your decisions, how you can be even remotely productive for your next in line. What freedom you are talking? He studied with me in Australia. He and Arvind Sood and Mufi were two boys. The two girls from Bangalore, you know, Mufi and Arvind Sood. There are photo where both of them are there in the photo on that cruise ship in the first 1 month of Australia. Mufi and Arvind Sood. Then there was a party also, or a dinner. Ritu from Delhi also was there. She's doing her interior. She's staying in Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, some girls' PG. This is movie from AU. Rohan, who was also in AU, Rohan Bhojwani, whose sister is Leena. No, whose sister Reena is friends with Leena, who becomes Mala Satrangani, marrying my mama, mother's brother, Rajan Mama. He was staying with Anu and Blue. Anurag is a very sweet guy, but he's from a very good background. He's from a very good background from Delhi. So something must have gone wrong with him. He must have been cloned. I won't be surprised. If he's alive, very good. If he's not alive, I'm not surprised. Blue over there was a tall model, dark-skinned girl who Anurag was crazy about. Rohan was sharing their home. The three of them lived in one home, sharing the rent as students. What happened to Anurag? He was called a crybaby, like very sweet and from a very good family, very nice-hearted guy. But what did you do with him? Since he's identified as good bloodline, far away from home Delhi, in Brisbane, Australia, as a student. So KG is Kabir Gupta, 190 Sankey Road, my cousin. AG is Akhil Gupta. Mufi and Arvind Sood are from Bangalore. Two girls are also from Bangalore. Kabir Gupta and Akhil Gupta live in Bangalore. Except Akhil Gupta has no more at that point in time, because it is 96, 97 that I've gone to Australia. Aki's come on the scene. Kabir Gupta is still there. He moves to America to make money for 3 years in a motel in Montana. Or was that also just a pack of lies? Don't know. KGA is the Karnataka Golf Association here close to Old Hall, where when we are arriving at the airport, in the old airport, we always stop at KGA for something to eat before we come to go to Sadashiv Nagar, or then to Brunton Road, or then to RMV. There's a time when they're talking about the stew and appam being really good, ordering appams. But that is, I think, in the 90s, late 90s. KGA is relatively later, because when the sham happened, KGA had a New Year party. That was the eve of, or the Christmas party, that was the eve of 2001 December, going into 2002. So going to KGA would have started only in 98, 99, 2000, 2001, not before that. So the Appam thing also would have started after that. Imperial, eating at Imperial also at Residency Road would have been a later issue, not before that. Because those kebabs, otherwise we didn't eat, we ate it relatively later. So when I stayed in Bangalore for that 1.5 year, once I was I wanted to eat those kebabs because it was relatively new. So I actually went out of my way to ask to go to that place. There was no place upstairs, so we sat down and joined with some other people. But all that reconstruction, all that actually establishes me then as yucky DNA, which I'm okay for. I have no problem. That man is dead. That bunch of people during that time are all dead. SL is still alive. He is D'Souza. Sandra D'Souza's cousin brother, whose father threw Sandra D'Souza and her brother out of the Hill Road share in the property. Then later on, Sandra D'Souza and her, I'm not Sandra D'Souza if I do this, I'm JAYA.ADVANI. Sandra D'Souza, and by the way, Sandra D'Souza is taller than my height. I'm a little shorter. Sandra D'Souza is a lot taller. Sandra D'Souza's brother and she earned enough money to buy a 1 BHK in Malad. This guy must have wanted that property also. Got rid of her, according to my read. Must have whispered her to Varsha's identity and then gotten rid of her through it. Or Shalina Hundalani's identity and then gotten rid of her. There is a confusion in 2007. Now, if you've got your hands and legs and paws in United Breweries, Shapurji Palunji, Merchant Household, Bhavnani's home. Only Merchant Household and Bhavnani's home is 1,000 crores. United Breweries is a different situation. Shapurji Palunji extended to Tata's is a different extension. You're busy cloning people at the same time, playing musical chairs, rotating people through homes. You can slip up. You're too busy, your eyes are on the money. पैसों का मामला है और रिंगा रोजीज तो बहुत हो रहे हैं, म्यूजिकल चेयर्स भी बहुत हो रहे हैं, secrecy also of a high level. So it happens when you are quickly changing things around, mistakes do happen. Why did KG send Mufi to AU along with Arvind Sood? What does Kabir Gupta have to do with this situation? Or then Akil Gupta, who is Aki? Let's ask. Hi, anyone there? I just wanted to ask some questions. Who's here? Kabir, are you here? Sweetie, you are here? Kabir Gupta, you're here. You're in the body. Okay, sweetheart, can you tell me when you left the body? I want the truth. When did you leave your body? You have been called Dhruva. What kind of a Dhruva are you? Seema's with you? Seema Gupta, your cousin, she's with you? What about her brother Vishal? Is Vishal also with you guys? Vishal to completely disappeared from society. So Vishal, you're here? Whenever we ask how's Vishal doing, पता नहीं St. Marks पे रह रहा है, rent पे रह रहा है. Once in a while see him but don't know what he's up to. So you were removed? You were not removed? Okay, let's come to Kabir Gupta's identity. Can we ask about Kabir? Okay, Kabir Gupta, you are the one who used to take that gun with that pellet that is tied to a string and scare me as a child. You're the one who used to dump Akhil Gupta into the headboard with Jimmy the dog and the Rajais in the ground floor 190 Sankey Road room, the guest room. You that boy? I'm seeing Akhil right now. Okay, now listen. You exited out of the body when? Can you tell me, please? Did you exit out of the body after the year 2010, sweetie? You were around in 2010? Okay, were you around in the body in 2011? Were you around in the body in 2012? Were you around in the body in 2013? Were you around in the body in 2014? Were you around in the body in 2015? Were you around in the body in 2016? Were you in the body in the year 2016, sweetheart? Okay, so you are saying you were murdered to leave the body of Kabir Gupta and go into the afterlife in 2016? When I came to Bangalore and I have taken a photo in Brunton Road, was that you? We sat at Shiro's. You seem to know a lot of people in the security, or there was the Ank Micholi had started. I said, let's go to the disc. You said, you took me to Shiro, whoever that was, took me to Shiro's. But not, you like drinking and dancing under normal circumstances. But this guy refused to go into the club, and instead we went for some dinner. And then I got dropped back to Chancery Hotel. Was that you? Now I want to understand one thing, Kabir. Were you murdered with your own face? Was Kabir Gupta murdered with his own face? Were you ever CRISPRed to look like Samir Sharma before that? Before you were murdered? So tell me one thing. There is a problem over here because Mala Bhavnani was murdered at Deep Towers. According to the read in 2008, she has been taken to the slums, CRISPR'd, I think, I don't know, but murdered after working for 2.5 months at Deep Towers for Shalina Undalani. My reading says that Kabir Gupta was there at that time along with Shamlu Sharma. So were you there when Mala Bhavnani was murdered? Are you the murderer of Mala Bhavnani? Were you in the house when Mala Bhavnani was murdered? Were you in town during that time when Mala Bhavnani was murdered? Was Shamlu with Varsha during the time that Mala Bhavnani was murdered? And we know that that is not the real Shamlu Sharma. It has been established that that girl is connected with some ISIS and God knows what. My question is, whoever the identity of Shamlu Sharma is, was Shamlu with Shalina Hundalani at Deep Towers when Mala Bhavnani was murdered? Where were you at that time? Can you tell me? Were you with Samir Sharma at that time? Were you at Suman Towers at that time? Did you and Shamlu ever stay at Suman Towers when you visited Bombay? At any point in time ever? For a little while? You did stay there for a couple of days? Had you dropped into Fort Jaswal at the time when Shamlu and Varsha were together? When they murdered Mala Bhavnani, were you with me in Fort Jaswal at that time? Were you visiting Fort Jaswal at that time? Were you CRISPR'd to be Mr. JAYA.ADVANI at that time? You had come into town to meet me? These girls were going to join us later or something of that sort? Were these guys going to join us later in the evening? They had gone shopping or something? They had gone shopping somewhere? Varsha was taking someone somewhere and I didn't want to go shopping. I had stopped going out actually shopping and all because even whoever was shape-shifting for your mom, she wanted me to go with her to Chandralok shopping, Amar Sons and Prem Sons, and I said I don't have the bandwidth for it. You finish the shopping and I'll see you back in the home. So she was quite angry with me. Same with Shamlu Sharma. I said, I'm not interested. I don't have the bandwidth for it. So it is a time when Shamlu was supposed to have gone with Shalina shopping. You have come to Forge Asheville, and they're going to catch up later on after the shopping is over and regroup. You stayed at Jaswell for that night? Were you aware that Shamlu and JAYA.ADVANI, shapeshifter called Shalina Hundalani, is going to be involved in the murder of Mala Bhavnani? Were you aware of it? What their real plan was? Okay, tell me one thing, Kabir. If you were around till the year, you say you were around till 2015, right? Were you the guy who used to have the pile of rice with the dal on it first thing in the morning? How can you even digest it? I cannot understand. Why is it your mother used to call you Punga Pandit? Your mother used to call you Punga Pandit? She used to get irritated with you? She was the beast who used to call you Punga Pandit and say he's like that Rasesh Moma in that movie Sarabai versus Sarabai. Now tell me one thing, when it comes to Mufi and Arvind Sood, your mother had a friend who were the Chaudhrys as well as Soods. Arvind Sood is connected with them. Mufi is his friend. Over here there is AU Mufi Beek, AG and KG E. How do I understand it? You sent him over there to spy on me? To watch out for me? So that I'm safe in Australia? Brisbane? So is Arvind Sood still in his human body? Is Mufi still in his human body? Mufi is no more. Arvind Sood is still in the human body? Was Arvind Sood ever one of the shapeshifters for Sanjeev Rajan Lekraj, who was dead at that point in time? So Arvind joined this group of D'Souza, Fernandez, Ray Road, Cotton Green. Arvind Sood has joined them. Tell me one thing, Seema is with you, Seema Ravanan, your cousin, Gupta cousin, Seema Gupta, with Vishal Gupta too. Abhay and Uday Aggarwal with you. Abhay, Uday. Which version of Abhay? Abby or Abhay? So Abhay Aggarwal and Uday Aggarwal, the two twin brothers who went to Buckingham University, is Abby. Abhay, short name Abby. His shapeshifter clone is Abhay. Abhayo. Connected with this line, Central Harbour line, from Railroad Cotton Green Parel. CST actually is where it starts from. All the way to Panvel, bifurcate. Is Abhay O for Abhay Aggarwal, who otherwise is Abby. Abhay O is from CST all the way to Panvel, bifurcating into Pen or then to Lunavla, Khandala, Pune. Primarily their network of whatever has happened upside down is primarily on this line only. Has Ankur Patodia joined you, Abhay Aggarwal and Uday Aggarwal? The real Ankur Patodia is with you. What about he really had a brother called Umang Patodia? His older brother Umang Patodia is also with you guys. He's also been sent off. The real Abhay Aggarwal was involved with Doy Soap's girl. Was Abby involved with the Doy Soap's girl after breaking up with whoever that Shalina Undalani at that time was? The real Abby was involved with Doy Soaps. Real Abby got married to that girl in a second marriage whose family died in the 2008 Taj bomb blast. So that girl got married to Abhay and not Abby. Is she still in her human body? The one who got married to Abhay and not Abby, is she still alive? They replaced her with somebody. They were staying at NM Jokshi Marg. They replaced her also after getting married in his second marriage. The first marriage, which did not work, the girl had an affair with Abhay, Abby's best friend. The real Abby got married to that girl. So it was to insult you and to disrepute you. Then they got rid of you. How they do it generally. Okay, let me look at the reading. I hope you all are all in the upper realms. I hope you all are well settled. Okay, good. I'm very happy. Okay. So let me just again go back to the read. Okay. Okay, so there is somebody who is from, there's somebody from AU who's fibbing. Some Mew. Something to do with Facebook and misusing it, I think, in some way. Grabbing identity of people uselessly. Now, I don't know this is, but there are plenty of fake IDs that people have gone hiding under. I don't know if forensics of the bone can tell you the age of somebody who's been CRISPRed. Whether if that's the way to go. Forensics of the bone density or bone. When you find a dinosaur, how you can tell? When somebody dies, how you can tell when they died? When you find a skeleton, how you can tell who that skeleton belongs to? Or how old it was when it died? What sex it was? How you can tell? You know, my sister was the baker when she was small. So she was given the role of doing a baker thing once. JAYA.ADVANI as a 3-year-old, 5-year-old next to Divya holding a cloud in Fort Convent School. Then there's another one where my little cutie was a baker, cutie pie. So she was wearing the chef's hat and the apron. Then they got her to be a sadhu, and then they got her to be sadhu and ascetic, wearing all the orange and a big Magan Lal dress, wala bushy black beard. Then final straw was when in another year they got her to become a gollywog, boot polish on her face with that hairdo with the frizzy hair on top. So she cried because they were giving her such shitty roles in her school. Whereas I was the blue hairy fairy, I became a nun, I did Krishna's role because I was in real life actually hairy fairy brown and not very good looking, but not so bad looking either. But Varsha was Snow White, so for most of her life as a baby, everyone who sees Varsha says, "Oh, Snow White, so cute." And in India at that time, if you're like an extra fair baby and you're a cute baby, then everyone goes to pinch your cheek and whatever. Everyone adores you. So I guess to tone it down, they gave her roles to do a fancy dress or to do a drama that is different from what she is in real life. In my case, because no one really spends time with me, and okay, I'm being told stories about the ugly duckling who then becomes a beautiful swan, and the face becomes pretty and the color lightens when the baby grows and becomes an adult. So they have to balance it. So Varsha had it in her role play and in her drama. First she was, what did I tell you? She was holding the cloud, so like puffy little white cloud with a nice fat white hairband and a school uniform in the school play. Next one, she becomes a baker, which is not so bad. Still she's dressed and you can see her sweet face with that big cap and everything. Third one, they make her a sadhu. Sadhu is in the orange attire with the kamandalu, which doesn't make her a beggar. The kamandalu, which the sadhu in India carries, he does take bhiksha. They do put things in that thing that he carries, that water thing. From there he can do puja and water, he will throw it on everyone as blessings. But in that kamandalu, he can also get what people donate to him in terms of food. The way Shirdi Sai Baba used to go with 2 tin pots, one for dry food, one for wet food, because he's a fakir. So the other word for the fakir is the sadhu. The fakir can dress in white, the sadhu dresses in orange. Right? So Varsha was given the role of the sadhu with the kamandalu. That time also she was not happy. She didn't want to do that role. Final straws when she's been given the role of the gollywog, and they put boot polish to make her face black and to give her a hairdo, which is putting a wig and making her the gollywog and dressing her like gollywog in Noddy's play. Because that's probably what she was doing, playing a role of a gollywog in Noddy's play. Because in Noddy's play, you do have the gollywog. So, if Varsha was known for baking, being the baker in Fort Convent, then who today is being JAYA.ADVANI, grabbing my identity? Have you grabbed my... Did you take my MBA? I went to Australia to do my MBA. Have you grabbed my Mint Fort Convent school cards, or did you take JAYA.ADVANI school cards with all the red lines on it? That you are being called a fake, I agree. My sister is dead. She was murdered and raped. 9 years. Thrown out of her own bloody assets. अरे यहाँ पे तो कैफ भी है. Why she needs to have any Australian? She doesn't need. She's the actress. वो क्या करेगी हमारे MBA के साथ? Cat Caf. BEAG or Akhil Gupta? Girlfriend maybe? Let's ask about the real Katrina Kaif. क्या है, माँ का जूतिया हम पे नहीं लगता है, नसीब के जूत लगते हैं. जूतिया जो है नसीब से मिलता है, कमाई के तौर पे मिलता है. माँ क्या चीज़ है? लक्ष्मी माता तो तुम्हारे साथ रहने वाली नहीं है. डोंट मेस अराउंड इन माई बॉडी एंड डोंट प्ले स्टूपिड साउंड्स. अंडरस्टैंड? Okay, I want to ask you about Katrina Kaif. Is there a girl called Katrina, not Katrina, but is there a girl called Katrina Kaif, a real Katrina Kaif? There's a real Katrina Kaif. Is it true she used to walk the ramp when she was a baby? Is it true her father was Kashmiri and her mother was foreign, like a international lady? Is it true she has siblings who are in 6 number, 7 number? That girl is alive today in her human body. Is the real Katrina Kaif, who I just described, is she alive? Don't tell me. Did that Katrina Kaif, the real Katrina Kaif, were any of you boys involved with? She was Shamlu. She was only your girlfriend up to a point in time. Who was involved with her? Can you tell me amongst you? Kabir Gupta, were you involved with her? Did you ever introduce her to me? Was this when I was in Australia, or then doing my MBA, or then doing my TYBCom, where coming to Bangalore was a little less? So it would have been from the, let's just say TYBCom, that would be 93, all the way to 1997. You were seeing her during that time? For a little while, then you broke up. You married? Did you marry her? But then the only person I know you got married to is Shamlu Sharma. Were you living a parallel life somewhere else without letting us know? I want to understand one thing from you, Kabir Gupta. Are you my real cousin brother, or are you the enemy? Who are you? Are you my real cousin brother? You're related to me from my father's Advani side of the family? Were we all manipulated by the bloody beast, dividing us in different fucking directions and getting everybody lied to, or the back of which everyone gets scattered, and I don't know how many multiples were created? I'm closing this reading right now. I'll be back tomorrow. Okay? I'm shutting this reading right now. Enough of this nonsense.